I wanted to do a follow-up to the Selling All My Gear a Year in Reflection video that I have recently done, looking at this as a business, because that was something else that I forgot about a lot, that I am running a business. I do this professionally all the time, and I realized that I was spending a lot of my income and my profits on gear. That is not how you run a business. You need core elements. You need to have the things that enable you to do the job that you need to do. Everything else is extraneous. It is eating into your profits. So I am having to work harder and longer to sustain my gear purchasing habit, which is not a good business practice. Now, I've known this for years, but it's so easy to get caught up in the trap because you want new shiny things. And as I mentioned before in the previous video, I realized that sometimes I was buying gear to overcome some of the skill gaps that I had. I was buying gear instead of breaking through the burn of the music. I was working on a piece of music and it wasn't working. It was the gear, not my knowledge, not my ability to push through and just concentrate and focus on that piece of music until I got it to the point that I wanted it to get to. The gear is never going to take me there. It's the ideas in my head. It's the skills that I possess. So in doing this whole clear out process, as I mentioned in the previous video, I have freed that up. I am having to work harder. I'm having to push through. I'm having to push through the burn in terms of my music skills and my attention and my focus to get pieces of music finished. But at the same time, I am now focusing on my business and realizing that what you earn is what you don't spend. What I am not spending, I am not a wealthy musician, or is any musician really wealthy by any stretch of the imagination. I could make my life so much easier by not spending so much on gear that I don't need. So selling my gear has been a big revelation to my business as well. And the thing to bear in mind, and this is something that I forgot about and then it struck me like a train, is assets versus liabilities. Now, when you are creating music and when you are writing music, those are my assets. When I am designing sound packs, when I am creating sounds, those are my assets. The gear is a liability. Whilst it is a capital asset that can be written off at some point of time, it's not something that will continually bring me in money. It will only ever depreciate. Whereas my music assets and the things that I create and the tracks that I work on are things that will grow over time. They will bring money in, as opposed to the liability of a piece of gear which is losing me money as time goes on with its depreciation. I started this process to make my own working process so much easier and get focused. But the big wake-up call, and you might be saying like that, duh, come on, really? You didn't think about that? It's like, no, I was fortunate enough to be able to buy this gear. I wanted to buy this gear. But now when you've had it, it didn't fulfill what it needed to do. The bits of gear around me, the bits of gear that I have continued to choose are the gear that I am using, that I feel passionate about, that really inspire me and enable me to do everything that I need to do. Of course, I will be buying things in the future, but those things will have to have a business case made for them now. I will need to make a business case to why I need this for my business and what value it is going to add and what return on investment I'm going to get from those purchases. Of course, there will be things that break and there will be things that need replacing over time, but that's part of doing business. But in terms of the intrinsic, the instruments and the external and the external synths and the pedals and everything like that, how many do you need? I don't really need them. They're just sat in a drawer a lot of the time. They're just sat on the desk. They're just sat in the rack. I've had to clear out. I do so much more inside the box now, and I really like it. I have my process for taking sounds outside of the box, but it's a very simple process. I didn't need to keep having to make all of these choices all the time. Which reverb shall I use today? This one or that one? No, I need to be writing music. I need to be finishing music, and I need to run my business, and I need to make my business profitable. Once you say all that, If this appeals to you, maybe this is something that you guys out there need to consider. I am just telling you about my experience. Think about your business. Think about where you want to be. If you want to be a musician and you're working a day job, all the gear you are buying means that you are further away from being able to realize that, because if you didn't spend that money on gear, the money that you are earning means that you can work longer for yourself. It's that simple. Make the choice. I'm not knocking buying gear. I will still be looking at sound on sound and drooling every month. There are still things that I want, but the logical brain has kicked in after all these years and saying, stop, you do not need this. If you do need it, you can make a business case. I hope that might have been useful to you. It's a reality wake-up check. As you know, on this channel, I will only give you the truth of my experience. That is where I'm at. Love to hear your thoughts. I've been Brucey. Most importantly, take care, my friends, and I will catch you later.